Today I'm going to show you how Parker painted this statue of Crossbreed Priscilla from Dark Souls. Now the customer's request was to make her just as big as we can, and since she's technically like 15 foot in game, we kind of did away with scale for this one. We picked the biggest piece and we tested the limits of our biggest printer. Ultimately we landed on 200% for scaling, making her 500mm overall, roughly 19.5 inches. As a character, you'd be forgiven for looking at her and thinking you only need to get out your white paint. But let's look at how Parker painted Priscilla by barely touching his white paint. So her outfit really is just lots of white fur. However, Parker always says white is the brightest of any colour and black is the darkest of any colour. So white can't really be your main colour without considering the undertones and what colour is going to be your highlights and shadows. When exploring reference images, these were Parker's favourites, so he decided to lean into the pale green shades. For the base coat, he starts with a mix of cobalt teal and medium orange and applies with a brush. In some areas, the shade is slightly adjusted with the addition of cobalt blue and raw umber as well. He keeps this paint fairly fluid, allowing it to run into the recesses. Applying the base coat in this way allows the colour to sit in hard to access areas to act as the shadow colour, which will become evident when he starts to move on to some of the next layers. Whilst we watch him apply this colour, I just want to take a quick moment to talk about a new app we've been using to help with colour matching. I know many might watch these videos for inspiration, but don't wish to go out and buy all the colours that Parker uses when they already have a large paint collection themselves. So using this app will allow you to screenshot his mixed colours and use the colour picker in the app to see what is the closest match in your own paint collection. This is just one of the many features, but check the link in the description if you wanted to try it out for yourself. Since this mix is quite thin, don't forget to brush slowly and gently to help prevent any air bubbles forming on the surface. Another little tip, if you're working with a lot of the same colour and are worried that you may keep varying the shade too much whenever you run out and need to remix, you could instead create a larger mix in a separate bottle. Parker keeps his empty Liquitex bottles for this reason. Once this base coat is dry, Parker moves on to the airbrushing stage. For this, he initially uses his Mobius 0.3 with Titan Buff. He builds up the layers, eventually focusing on just the highest points to create a variety of shades across the textures, as the thin layers allow varying amounts of the base coat to show through. Next, we get onto Parker's favourite stage, sponge. He grabs his beauty blender and this is now where he gets out the white paint. This is titanium white from Golden So Flat range and he applies it all over, but again starts to focus on the highest and therefore lightest part of the fur. For his final stage, Parker uses titanium white Liquitex ink through his airbrush. He uses inks a lot because their transparent nature works really well with his painting style of building up thin layers. They also have a strong staining power whilst retaining some of that transparency. With this ink stage, he primarily focuses on the highest raised sections of her fur. Priscilla has incredibly pale skin, so Parker first base coats with burnt sienna and magenta. People often ask why he first uses a brush for base coating skin, and he's had many comments from people saying they've not really seen someone use both tools for skin before. So I asked him, and I will read you his answer. Firstly, it gives some faint brush texture, which he likes and feels adds depth and a light visual noise, which balances with the smoothness of the airbrush. It also stops him having to mask so much, since it covers hard to reach spots and transitional areas. Also, he just personally enjoys the messy stage of laying down base coats with the brush and blending colours around. As Parker moves on to this next part of the base coat, he introduces Titan Mars Pale into the mix. This lighter mix helps to start to consider highlight placement. The eyeball keeps the dark red colour from the first base coat layer, as it will serve as a good blood vessel base for the eye whites. Priscilla also has some fur on her forehead around the horns, but Parker ignores for now, as he'll paint this in properly in the next section. Once her base coat is dry, he starts the airbrush process to help blend out some of that brush application. For the airbrush, he's mostly using Titan Mars Pale, just with a small addition of that burnt sienna and magenta mix from his wet palette. As he sprays the torso and starts to get close to the white fur outfit, you can start to see how this brush application, combined with his careful airbrush control, means that he didn't need to mask off the dress. Now he's finished with the main skin coverage, Parker prepares a lighter colour and adds Titan Mars Pale to what's remaining in his airbrush. This starts to help give her that porcelain skin tone. For the final stage of skin shading, Parker moves to his usual airbrush glaze recipe. I'll throw the recipe card up again. I know we've gone over it in previous videos, but it's good to just show again every now and then. This time he uses a bit of burnt sienna and muted pink Liquitex ink. Oh, he also recently received his upgrade kit for the Aventus, and he's actually really liked it. He said it feels like it's improved the Aventus airbrush to be in a more noticeable upgrade to his Mobius. As always, he softens back out the edges of this shading colour using the palest porcelain colour he just used. Next up is her hair. Again, her hair is pretty much white, so Parker sets out to find a suitable colour. When there is so much white going on, you need to find a way for each colour to be slightly different so they genuinely appear as unique elements of the design, but also remain complementary and cohesive across the project. So for the outfit, we had the pale green undertones, the skin had the sort of pale pink violet shades, and so for her ice white hair, Parker started with a pale yellow base coat. He uses antelope brown ink from Dalla Rowney mixed with some Titan Buff and some flow improver to make it thin enough to flow into all the crevices, similar to how he base coated her outfit. This colour is effectively going to be the deepest shadows of her hair. He gets an all over coverage with this and leaves to dry. Once dry, Parker's next stage is Titan Buff through the airbrush. He applies this generally all over, but focusing more on raised textures and leaving the deepest recesses with the base coated colour. This starts to really bring it to the shade we're looking for, but he gets out his trusty sponge to start dabbing in the highlights. The sponge always works really well on textured pieces like this. There's no need to wet it, just dab it into your paint and control the paint load by dabbing on the tissue if you need to remove a bit. He then goes back over with the airbrush again, this time with titanium white Liquitex ink. These transparent layers help to blend the various shades and textures he's created. To decide if he's happy, he checks with a quick dry fit to see if the hair and outfit colour complement each other. Before he moves on to the eyes and lips, Parker has a couple of unique features on this model to paint. Firstly, he starts by base coating the neck fur using blue violet. He paints a solid coverage using a size 4 brush. Next, she also has fur on her forehead around the horns, so he starts the process of painting this in too. Initially, he uses the sponge to just hit the raised hair texture. You're probably noticing that he uses his sponge in place of where a lot of people would probably opt to dry brush. And whilst he still does use the dry brush on occasion, he personally finds the sponge a bit more versatile. Once finished with the sponge, he then starts to paint in each hair strand with a mix of white and Payne's Grey using his size 00 Kolinsky Sable brush from Green Stuff World. The mix creates a silvery white shade that remains distinguishable from her skin colour. Alternates between the sponge and brush to build up to the desired effect. For the whites of her humongous eyes, he uses some of the slightly off-white shades already on his wet palette. Since he did this project over the course of 3 days, his palette starts to get quite full and he reaches a point where he just starts to use whatever is remaining on there. The red underpainting acts as a blood vessel colour and the shade remains in the tear ducts. Before going back to finish the eyes, Parker moves to her lips. This character isn't really wearing makeup and has quite a soft, natural look, so he sticks to quite a pale shade using his airbrush glaze recipe to apply thin, diluted layers. Building these up slowly allows a gradual transition from the lip colour to the skin colour and isn't as harsh as it would be if the character was wearing makeup. With the lips done, he heads back to that neck fur and starts to use some Titan Violet Pale mixed with a bit of added white and applied with a sponge. Next, he uses his Rich Pen Phoenix with some white ink. Now we've done a lot of fur already, so we're going to call this done and move back to her eyes. Before painting in her eye colour, Parker uses his pastels to create her eyeshadow. The Golden Pan pastels in Violet Extra Dark and Magenta Extra Dark are a perfect complement to each other. He switches tools a bit to build up the perfect blend and have appropriately feathered edges. Honestly, I often think Parker would do a better job at applying my makeup for me. He also uses the pastels for some light shading around her nose and mouth. Now onto those big eyes. So as a dragon cross human, she actually has reptilian eyes. He used sap green Liquitex ink and cadmium primrose yellow for the iris colour. A bit of ink here helps to add some natural shine to her eyes. For these, he uses his size 0 Green Stuff World brush. The reptilian pupil is a bit different to normal and goes top to bottom of the iris. Since it's a unique shape, it may feel a bit weird to do this instead of your usual circular pupil. For this, he uses Golden High Flow Black. This is his glossiest black, so it's perfect for a shiny pupil. The final steps now. First up is base coating the wooden handle of her scythe. For the wood, he uses a mix of black and raw umber to create a very dark brown. He uses the same mix on the top part of the weapon, but moves more into green as he gets towards the blade. He uses an addition of phthalo green blue for this mix. For the scythe blade, he mostly uses Payne's Grey with a small addition of some of the wet palette green mix to get an all over coverage through his airbrush. This ends up giving a full dark turquoise coverage. Whilst this dries, Parker goes back to that wooden handle. This next step is sponge application and uses existing colours on the wet palette with an addition of some Mars yellow as well. This gives some texture back to that flat coverage and varies up the wood shade. For the scythe highlight, he uses a mix of black and cobalt teal to create a bluey grey colour. He uses the sponge to dab in some dark mixes higher up the scythe, moving closer to the lighter colour with the addition of Titan Violet Pale to the mix on the very edge of the blade. I feel like this dark and worn look to the metal, as opposed to bright metallics, definitely fits the Dark Souls theme more. For the final stages of this weapon, Parker uses a dry brushing technique. He tested a couple of shades before decided he needed titanium white for the dry brushed edges. Then he moves to a fine brush to paint in some scratches on the blade of the scythe. Now is just the base left to go. She has a nice simple base, and honestly her big outfit mostly covers all of this anyway. He starts by airbrushing a mix of Payne's Grey and Phthalo Blue Green. He then pours what remains of this mix onto the wet palette and adds some white and black to give a dark grey. He uses his sponge to dab all over the textured stone pavement. Next, he gives the pavement a bit of an aged and stained look by using sepia ink through his Infinity airbrush. If you wanted to lean into some Dark Souls grime, you could definitely do more on this, but like I mentioned, a lot of it is hidden anyway. His last step on the base is to go around the edge with carbon black through the airbrush. And here is the finished model. If you want more information on Parker's techniques for painting this character, he did put together a 5-hour painting course on this model, which is available over on our Patreon. Also, a quick side note, that charity auction that I mentioned in the last video, well, you guys helped us raise £275. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you also to all of our patrons on screen. We are so grateful for your continued support. As always, thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.